Welcome to the Redemption Podcast Show. I'm U.S. Army veteran and poetic human John Krotec.
And I am a former professional fighter, the champion soul, Jason Freebird Freeman. In a sincere effort to help others and to set some records straight, we share our personal stories and scripture and offer real solutions to overcoming the challenges of life.
We appreciate you being here. And remember, the truth
shall set you free.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Redemption Podcast Show. Sometimes we talk about scripture, sometimes we don't. I'm here with my co-host, Jason Champion Soul Freeman, the Decide to Fight guy. There you go. Always flexing. I wish he'd flex his mind more than he flexes his muscle, but we're going to talk about flexing a body part today. You know, let's talk about this. I'm the poetic human, the HEARTSCRIBES guy, and I write things out. He fights them out. But let's talk about using your 8 inches, and not the 8 inches that the world wants to embrace. All of this lewd and lascivious behavior that people engage in. We're talking about, on average, the distance between one ear and the other. That 8 inches, right?
That 8 inches, yes.
And what lies between that 8 inches is a gray or white. It's called a brain, and the brain is
the brain
fascinating.
Has all the power in the world, all the power in the world to give you everything you want in life.
You know, it's a fascinating organ. You know, it's how we it's how we get through life.
If we use it.
But that's right, and it only has value if you use it. So, how do you use your brain? How do you use it? Let's think about that for a second. Oh, we've already started thinking, right?
Ding,
so,
ding, ding.
The critical thought. What happens when we think? We develop logic and reason. All the things that the great Greek philosophers, Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, all the things they talked about. Critical thinking, that mankind, man, woman themselves are the ones that have the power to change their lives and to change the world.
Yes.
Critical thought, logic and reason, and then life experience, which develops common sense, that intuitive thinking. You know, so you have deductive reasoning, deductive thought, which is based on logic and reason, and then you have intuitive thought, which is based on experience and gut feelings. And you know what, that doesn't sound right. Something's not right. You know, let's take one that we've heard recently. All white people are racist. Oh, gosh. I mean, is that not the most ridiculous, nonsensical statement that a smart human being could ever make? So,
you know, we all have some type of racism within our mindset, and it's almost like it's judgmental. So it's not, I mean, it's not racism. It's being judgmental towards other people. If it's what they drive, what they wear, what they look like, you know, what color they are, whatever it is, we can easily pass judgment so fast. And that's not
thinking. That's not using the old gray matter. That's not using your 8 inches. You know, it's kind of like another one. You know, a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old girl or boy knows that they're the opposite sex. Really?
5 years old?
I'm a boy. I've got this thing going on, right? But I know I'm a girl. I mean, you know, how's that possible? They don't even know how. You know, they're not even wet behind the ears yet, and they know.
No, it's it. I mean, John, like I'm already thinking in my mind. It's like, well, who and what is being told and taught? However, a person is taught at a young age, between being born 5 years old, they can soak in. I mean, they're like a sponge, right? Then you got from 5 to 10 years old where there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of mental growth within those 10 years. And then, John, um, if you've got torment, a bad home, maybe you're in foster care, the mind will play tricks on you. And I've seen it. I seen a young man that I was locked up in the detention center with as a young boy, 13, and his mom didn't want him. And that's what he thought in his mind. That was his logic. He thought in his mind he was at that detention center because his mother wanted to go out of state for a vacation. So this is his logic and reasoning throughout most of his life. He said he's been in these places often, and I'm thinking in my head, well, I've got 28 days in here, and I'm flipping out. I don't want to be in here. But that's what that young boy had to deal with, and later on in life, in his early 30s, he took his life. So
That's
whatever we
sad, man.
believe in, we're going to hold on to what we believe in for the rest of our lives if we don't grab that truth on the inside of us and realize that that's not who we are.
True. And everybody, all humans, whether they will admit it or not, wants to be accepted and wants to be approved. And children, especially children, they're great mimics. They'll agree with whatever an adult tells them normally. So if you're an adult teaching ideology or somebody else's narrative, which is a word that's blown up, I don't really like that word because it just the meanings of words have been changed, right? So obviously an 8-year-old, his head might be a little bit smaller, but he still has a brain. He doesn't have the 8 inches that most adults have, but has maybe a 6 inch space between his ears or her ears. And of course they're sponges, just like you said, sponges. So again, but they're in a position to not be able to critically think. They're in a position to mimic. And they do it because there's this pecking order. And at that age, we really, how when we were growing up, how we wanted to be part of the group or the gang, and we did certain things. I can tell you,
Yeah.
I'll tell you straight up, I have done some of the stupidest things that human beings can do when I'm in a group environment because I wanted to be accepted or approved. And I mean, everybody that's been in those situations knows exactly what I'm talking about. I wasn't using my 8 inches. What I was using was lack of logic and reason because you're a young guy just barely out of your teens in college. And I know if there's any college fraternity brothers that hear me, they'll know exactly where I'm coming from. How many stupid things that we do to be approved and accepted? Same thing kids do.
Without thinking, not even thinking, just reacting because you want that acceptance.
And throw a little bit of alcohol in there, and then the 8 inches you're thinking about definitely is not your brain. It's something else. And I don't want to go there, but that so and then it's just a whole downward spiral. So
Based on our choices, John,
and decisions we make.
Yep, our choices, our decisions that we make as a young man, growing up, sometimes haunt us later on in life.
And I'm truly sorry for any heart I may have broken or any really stupid thing I may have done to hurt anybody, but it wasn't me. Well, maybe that's not true. It was me. It wasn't the alcohol, but it was me not thinking,
lifestyle,
and making the wrong choices.
Yeah.
So now there's a way out, and it comes from years of experience. There's a way to get up off the canvas. And yeah, it's a shameless plug. You've probably heard it before. But decide to fight. Decide to use your brain. Make the choice. Make the decision to get up off the canvas. Visit Jason Freebird Freeman's.com website. Look at Decide to Fight. And if you don't want to fight it out,
or if you want to write it out, you can go to John T. Krotec, and and you could sign up for HeartScribes, and you could get your feelings out on paper. So you don't, men, we don't like to say we have feelings, but in all reality, we do a lot of writing. We make our list, we set our goals, we do our things that we need to. It's on paper. One thing that we haven't done in the past, a lot of us, is we don't get our feelings out and get them on paper. So then we could look back and really see who we are, where we are, and how we can adjust our life to get the things that we truly want in life. And that's writing it out and fighting it out. Man, this has so much power.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. So there you have it. This is just a short episode. We implore you to use your 8 inches, and to those brave and bravado guys, you know what we're talking about. It's not anything else than what's between your ears. Yeah. And we've got nobody to blame but ourselves for the choices we make. The value that you bring to the table, who you are, what it is you do, and how you interact with the world around you is solely up to you. And it requires courage. It requires bravery, perseverance, long-suffering, love of self. Can't love others before you love yourself. And it's not the creepy kind of love that the world embraces, the 8 inches that the world embraces. It's something entirely different. What we're saying is use your 8-inch space between your ears, logic and reason.
Pull yourself up off the canvas.
Sit with yourself for a while.
Pull yourself up off the canvas. Yeah. Come to know yourself. Come to know yourself instead of worrying about everything else that's out there. Everything else that's out there carries no value for your today or your tomorrow.
Well said, Jason. So decide to fight or be a heart scribe. And just remember this: the truth
shall set you free, man.
Love it. Talk to you again soon, and thank you for listening to another episode. We didn't share much. Hopefully we scared you into some action, but the call to action is now and today. Do it. We didn't share much scripture, but the scriptures are here. And the scripture that I would have to say is embrace the good things in life. I think it's in Corinthians: long suffering and patience. Embrace those. Turn your life around. Thanks, Jason. Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Redemption Podcast Show. We hope you got some wisdom out of it. Don't forget, the truth
shall set you free.